I was popping, everybody. Welcome to another video. Now I'm gonna get right into it. Judging by the title and thumbnail, you might look at this and be like, "What do you mean?" The number one thing I had to unlearn. And I want to dive right in. But actually, before I do that, like, comment, subscribe, join the free Discord in my bio. It is free. It won't cost you anything. And a lot of y'all be watching. Y'all don't be subscribed, but y'all don't be liking. Like the video, subscribe. Like, it ain't gonna hurt you. It ain't gonna do you no bad. Just do that. So yes, but let's get into this video though. What I want to talk about. The number one thing I had to unlearn and you have to unlearn before you can be successful as a day trader, and I think that it boils down to how we were raised and how we were brought up as humans. Now, kind of how we were brought up in life, you're trained to think, you get in what you put out, or you get out what you put in. The more work you put in, the better you're gonna be. Hard work is gonna get you there. Um, Losses are bad. All of this stuff that we're kind of taught from kids throughout school and sports and life, but it's the complete opposite with day trading. And what do I mean by this? So first of all, with day trading, we are taught, well, in life, honestly, we're taught, we're punished for making mistakes. We're punished for having bad grades on tests. You don't like to fail. Failure is always kind of like, it has this negative connotation to it, but when you really look at it and it comes to day trading, that attachment is honestly great. Losing trades is one of the best things you can do because that is where you grow the most. And it is very hard for a lot of us to understand that, and it's hard for a lot of us to fathom that because it's not how we were wired. We're wired as humans to not like losses. We don't want to take losses, and obviously, you're not going to want to take a loss on trading either. But you need to understand that when you take losses with day trading, this is where you grow at, this is where you become a better trader, and this is where it helps you in the overall long run. That's the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, just understanding the idea of losses and how they are actually very beneficial and how we're taught to not really associate them with good. But with trading, you need to fix that. And I can speak for personal experience myself. I was the biggest sore loser, prior to anybody you would ever know. Like, I would, growing up, I would like to fight if I lost. You playing the video game, playing PlayStation, I try to fight after I lost. I would cry. I wouldn't want to stop playing until I won. And that's how I always have been since a young age, like super duper competitive, super duper sore loser. Like, I hated it. And then also when it came to, like, as I got older into sports, I played on some pretty good teams where we won a lot. So losing wasn't really that common for me, coming up. So it's like once I got into day trading, it's like, damn, I had to kind of like rewire and reshape my entire mindset to be willing and be open to taking losses, accept these losses, and welcome them with open arms because I know that is where I'm going to grow and and change the most from, become a better trader. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Now, secondly, which is probably honestly one of the more important ones, is what I think is overlooked, is when you say, you get out what you put in. With trading, this is kind of the opposite, to an extent, to a certain degree, and I'm gonna talk about it. So, when you first start out in day trading, it is good to put as much time in as possible. It is good to really try to perfect your craft and really learn and put the hours in for sure. But it gets to a point though, once you kind of have a good understanding, once you have a decent grasp of your bias, how you want to trade your system, yourself. Once you kind of get past that first couple of months stage where you're just learning the actual systems, from here it can kind of be negative. The more you try to learn, the more work you try to put into the charts. This is honestly probably one of the worst things that you can do because you're going to overwork yourself, you're going to overwork your brain, and day trading is such a mentally draining and taxing, game to where you don't want to be spending as much time on the charts, especially as you're trying to chase profitability and get over that hump of just, break even or unprofitable. It's not necessarily always going to be the more work that I put in, the more hours I spend on the charts. It's going to be about what you do off the charts. And I think that we are wired to obviously not think like this. Coming up, especially just me with basketball, a lot of my sports teams that I played on, we would have, 5 a.m. practices, 6 a.m. practice, where we have to be up and be in the gym at 6 a.m. We're there till 9, leave, especially over the summer. Like, I'm in the gym from 6 to 9, go out, get lunch, come back at 12. We're right back. So it's like we're trained to think like, okay, I put more work and I'm going to continue to get better. But when it comes to day trading, a lot of it, especially once you get to a certain point, after you know your system, it's not about what you put in. It's about what you don't do. It's about what you don't do on the charts and what you do off the charts. And it's very hard to fathom this and really understand it at first. When you actually think about it, it makes sense because, the more I try to just chase profitability. Say I'm at the break-even stage and I'm profitable. The more time I spend on the charts, the more subjective I am to make mistakes that I know I shouldn't be doing. But because your mental fatigue is gonna start kicking in after a certain point. You know, you try to drain yourself out and spend hours a day on the charts. You're gonna only be at rat race. You're gonna constantly run in a cycle, constantly be on a wheel where you're gonna get on the charts, make the same mistakes, blow accounts, and do it all over again the next day because you're trying to put all this time and put all this work in. But in reality, that's not really necessary. It's not mandatory. It's really just about fixing what you know you shouldn't be doing. And that honestly comes from the less time you spend on the charts. Spend more time outside the charts. Tim, go for walks, go for runs, go to the gym, go fishing, do whatever you have to do outside of the charts, but don't think that you need to put in more time on the charts in order to be a better trader because that's not the case at all. I think that you need to figure out what is suitable for you, what works for you, what amount of time you should allocate per day to perfecting your craft. And then outside of that, find hobbies, find other things to do because it can be very draining and it can be very just mentally taxing on you to the point where you're gonna drive yourself insane trying to learn a whole bunch of new systems, learn new strategies, and try to attach new things. It's like having a gun, for example. I don't condone any type of gun violence or anything like that, but I'm gonna use it as an example because it's like, yo, let's say I buy my first gun and I'm instantly trying to buy scopes for it and attachments and grips and all this type of stuff before even learning how to shoot the gun. All of that stuff is going to be pointless to me. None of that stuff is going to be beneficial. The scopes, the attachments, everything I bought for it is going to be a waste of money and a waste of my time because I didn't even learn the basics. I didn't learn how to actually shoot the gun. I didn't become a master at that gun while it was stock. So it's like, why am I going to do all this extra stuff and try to attach all this extra stuff if I can't even master the basics, if I don't know the simple gun safety rules about my gun, if I don't know, where the safety is or how to load the magazine up. Everything else is going to be pointless to me. And it's the same thing with trading. You want to focus on your stock system, exactly what you know works. Focus on one mechanical strategy. Do not try to strategy hop. Do not try to bounce from system to system and attach different things to your system. It's only going to drive you crazy. It's only going to mentally burn you out. Your battery's going to be dead before the game even starts. You don't want that. And I can tell you from personal experience, I had instances where, when I first started trading, I was trying to trade through indicators. That didn't work. I'm taking buy and sell indicators and I'm thinking I'm going to be profitable like that. Obviously, that didn't work. Then I hopped to, a certain form of ICT, just liquidity break structure, how TJR teaches. That was my first mentor in a way. From there, I jumped to another system within ICT and like a whole bunch of Bollinger Bands. I didn't do supply and demand too much, but it was like mainly ICT and Bollinger Bands. Like those are like a lot of the main things I was trading with. So then it's like, once I actually stopped trying to jump from system to system, teacher to teacher, and I just focus on one person, one strategy, one system, one model, that is where I began to see the most growth and I began to see just the most clarity within my trading because I'm not constantly looking for a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not constantly trying to be on the charts all day. No, I know what I'm looking for. If it's not there, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go about my day. I'm going to go for a walk. And this is also the importance of adapting hobbies and having a life outside of trading. I'm going to get into that now as well because it's like, yo, if you don't have a life outside of trading, you are automatically going to be way more prone to just making these mistakes and being on the charts a lot more because you have nothing else to do. You are going to be bored one day. It might be 2, 3 in the afternoon. You're just scrolling on your phone and you see a TikTok video of somebody on the charts. You might see a TikTok live or something like, oh, let me take a look. You log onto your trading view, whatever the case may be. You might take a trade, lose, take another trade, lose. Now you're like, damn, I got to make my money back. I want to be back break even on the day. I want to be back green on the day from the morning. You already were done, but since you got back on, now you put yourself in the hole and you want to get back up. Then you end up blowing your accounts. And I am speaking from experience. This has happened to me. I have been scrolling on TikTok before, just bored without anything else to do with my day. Because after I'm done trading, it's like I have nothing else to do. I'm bored. I'm scrolling. I see somebody on TikTok live. Excuse me. I see somebody on TikTok live. I see them taking a trade. I'm like, oh, this don't even look bad. Let me hop on and see if I like it. I end up taking a trade. It ends up losing. And it's a spiral. And it's a bad just cycle that you can let yourself fall into, and I advise you not to. This is the importance of having hobbies and having a structured routine to where you know what you should and shouldn't be doing on a daily basis, and from time to time allocate your time properly, the right way. Don't just have, a whole bunch of free time on your day. I think that idle time is one of the worst things we can have as humans because when you're just sitting scrolling, like you're just wasting time, you're letting it go by, and in idle time. Nipsey Hussle said, "On a mission, your worst enemy is idle time," and that is a true story because you're wasting your time. We only get one life. Time is our most valuable asset. You do not want to waste it, and you do not want to spend it blowing accounts. And you're way more likely to blow accounts when you have nothing else to do, when you're outside of your system, you're outside of your structured basis, and you're just trying to take a quick trade. You're trying to just, like, no, it's not worth it. So have a structure, have a system outside of trading. Make sure you're spending less time on the charts, and I promise you will see more success. Only trade your allocated time slot. Only trade when you know you're more, you're more profitable. When you know that your system presents itself more, you know that you have way more of a higher opportunity to win. Don't try to chase when you know that the market's about to close or Asian session. Like, if you know you don't trade good Asian session, don't touch it. If you know you only trade good 9:30 open, only trade that. And this is what, the also, like, kind of goes back to the idea of just like less being more when it comes to trading. You don't always get out what you put in. Less is more. And that is something I had to understand, and that is what I think will help you as well if you are at that stage that I was once at. I'm gonna leave y'all with that though. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I appreciate you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, join the free Discord in my bio, and I will catch y'all in the next one. You have a blessed rest of your day. Peace out.